Hey all, welcome to this episode of A Good Problem to Have. I'm your host, Tyler Olson. Today we're talking about the incentives that sometimes exist between new home construction builders and the lenders that they prefer the home buyer to use. It's actually pretty common, and this has come up a few times in our work over the past few months. So thought it would be educational to understand uh, some of the things that may come up when you're buying a new construction home when it comes to the borrowing process. And I'm gonna give you an example to lay it out for you. So say you're gonna buy a new home and the builder has their they have their plans, and they probably have a couple of different models that you can pick from, and they have their associated pricing, baseline pricing, and then add-ons. Sometimes they give you options to add on certain features. The process for purchasing the home for most people is that you're going to borrow the funds, right? You're going to take out a mortgage. And the way that I have seen builders, the sellers of the property, basically lay out the contract, the sales agreement, is they really, really want you to use a specific lender. And the reason invariably is involving money, right? They could be a owner of the 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 lending arm. If it's a mortgage brokerage, or if it's even a mortgage banker, but the relationship is tied by money somehow. And the reason why we know that is because it's very common in the sales agreement to impute something that we refer to as, you ever heard of discount points? Discount points are common to try to reduce what the interest rate is going to be on the mortgage. When you pay points to reduce the interest rate, that's actually prepaying interest, so that the lender will be willing to offer you a lower interest rate over the life of the 15 or 30-year term mortgage. And that can sometimes make sense. You also get a tax deduction, or presumably, if itemizing makes sense, you're able to deduct those discount points. However, in this case, what we're seeing is just not discount points, but rather they're paying, I'm blanking on it right now. The points that they're paying are just another type of point. It's like just a fee to pay the lender. And if you compare that with other lending options, and I've done this like with other mortgage bankers that I know and trust, and they don't have those points. They don't charge the $8, $10, $12,000 into the sales agreement. And the reason why is because the lender, they get paid a very small percentage of the borrowed amount. The broker, the person who's like representing you, they get essentially a commission. Tends to be anywhere between 0.25 and 0.5% of the borrowed amount, in my experience. And then they might get some very, very small residual going forward, or they might get nothing at all. There's no points added in here though, too, and that's what is the case with these new construction builders setting up the sales agreement to sell the house to you, the buyer. And so it's odd. You're like, well, why would I do that? Why would I use this lender and agree to this cost that I could completely eliminate if I went with a different lender? What the builder does is they build in a sales credit to not only offset that cost, the points that you're paying to the lender. They'll often go above and beyond, and they'll offer you an even deeper discount. So let's say that the points was going to cost you $10,000, but they offer you a $20,000 credit if you use their preferred lender. And now you're like, oh, well, now I'm ahead $10,000. And sometimes they'll throw in other things. They'll be like, you know what? And if you use our lender, we'll put down, we'll seed grass for you. We will install a sprinkler system. You'll get an upgraded washer and dryer. See, this is new construction. It's like there's a lot that the builder can do to incentivize you. And so far, none of this sounds bad, and it isn't inherently bad. I'm bringing this up because when you encounter it, it's going to feel strange, and you're going to wonder, how do I process this and understand what the incentives are? And am I walking into a situation that is unfavorable? And the answer is maybe not. But it's good to understand what those incentives are so that you can evaluate your situation for yourself. So they offer these add-on things. You use our lender, use the lender that we want, you get the seller's credit that more than pays for the points that the lender wants to charge you, and then some, and we're going to throw in these add-ons to your new home. And you're like, this is fantastic. And it can be, but there is an area of value, cost, and sales price that is fairly opaque. And I'm talking about the sales price of the home, right? So let's say they're like, you know what, these houses, the sales price, $575,000. But you know what? We're going to throw in this, and we're going to throw in that, and we're going to give you a $20,000 sales credit to help to offset those points. So instead of paying $575,000, you're only going to be your sales price actually going to be, when all is said and done, is going to be $565,000 after you net that out, and you'll get grass, and you'll get a really nice washer and dryer. What piece of information is missing that you, the buyer, would be very hard-pressed to access? The answer is the real sales price that the builder is hoping to achieve. You know those like Black Friday sales where it's like, oh, we're discounting all of our stuff, 10%, 20%, 50%. And what's not uncommon is for merchants to gradually ratchet up the price of a given product through the month of October and November. And then come Black Friday, big discount. And it's not really a deal. It just feels like one because of how you compare it with what they said the full price actually was. This is not too dissimilar of a situation. And it's not to say that anything nefarious is happening. These are sales tactics. And the baseline, what really matters here is what you're paying and what you're getting. Are you getting what you need? Is it of decent value? Have you compared it with comparable new construction homes as well as high quality existing homes? You know, there's value in new construction. There's also a lack of value in new construction, depending on the quality of the builder and the quality of the materials that they're using. Older homes, sometimes they need a lot of work, but also there's a lot of older homes that have really, really solid foundation and structure that was done right. So you got to make sure that when you walk into a home purchase, and this is like new construction or existing, you need to understand as best you can how to compare pricing. Because if you're just looking at what the builder is presenting you and they're saying, yeah, I mean, we're going to try to sell for $575, but we're going to give you all this stuff and we're going to knock off 20 to offset the points. And you're like, wow, this is a great deal. This is amazing. But what if the real value of the home is like $525? Now, in the world of purchasing homes, we often will, not be able to thread that needle exactly, because it's not just a financial purchase, it's also an emotional one and a time-based one where we need to make a decision. So nothing's going to be perfect here, but you just need to have that in mind, that like when you're being presented something like this, it's not like they're trying to do you a favor, okay? Because they're getting the sales price that they want for the home. They know how much it costs them to build the home, how much it costs them to buy the property, how much it costs them to pay all their workers and to market it and to get it to this point. And then they have a profit margin that they're trying to reach. So if they're willing to offer you this sales credit, you know, that's within the confines of their definition of success. All right. Also bear in mind that they're getting their sales price and you are feeding revenue to a lending agency of some sort that the builder has a financial interest in for some reason. It could be that they are a co-owner, like I mentioned. It could be that they are getting kickbacks where basically the lender's like, yeah, we're going to give you half of those points that they paid to us. Some sort of arrangement, because they're in business. So just keep that in mind. Excuse me. When I come across this, it feels odd and it's hard to sift through, but there's money incentives going on in the background, and there is specific costs and profit margin goals information that the builder has that you do not. And so it's important that on your side, you can ask questions, and you should, but you may not be able to confirm that you've got every single piece that you need in order to make an informed decision from, like, with all those numbers, like their profit margins and their costs. Like, they may not be willing to share that information, right? But on your side, you can compare other homes of similar quality, size, location, and the pricing, and then make the best decision that you can, so that, you know, sure, like, is this a bad deal? I don't know. It might be, but it might be a good deal. It might be what you need. There's a lot of there's a lot of nuance here according to your needs and your stage of life. So just make sure that, like, you understand what you're paying and what you're getting, and then you'll be as equipped as you can to make the best decision possible. Thanks for joining. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.